Before the world knew the names of the Ohio players, before Parliament-Funkadelic reshaped the sound of American music, there was a young musical prodigy from Dayton, Ohio. A quiet mastermind whose fingerprints could be found on some of the most important funk recordings ever. This man wasn't just a musician, he was a force of nature. A multi-instrumentalist who could sit at the keyboard, drum, or guitar and create an entire world of sound alone. At only the age of 17, he helped transform the Ohio Players into one of the hottest funk bands of the early 70s. His imagination pushed that sound into uncharted territory, crafting grooves that was funky, risky, and soulful. This is the story of a man who shaped two of the greatest funk dynasties of all time. This man is the unsung architect of the P-Funk empire. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Walter Junie Morrison. Now, if you guys love my videos and love supporting me, then I suggest you become a member of the channel where I will be releasing exclusive videos just for you all. Be sure to get that family tier so you won't miss out on these exclusive perks. If you guys would love to connect with me outside of YouTube, then I am officially announcing that I am on Discord. Here, you can provide me with feedback on my recent uploads. You could drop your suggestions for future videos, or if you just want to chat it up about videos or about music in general, or just about anything, we could do it here. We could do it together. I hope to see you there. The link is in the description below. Now, before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. Before he became one of the most important minds in funk music, Junie Morrison was a quiet kid growing up in Dayton, Ohio. Born on June 10th, 1954, Junie showed signs of brilliance very early. Unlike most children who gravitated towards one instrument, he gravitated towards all. By the age of 5, he was experimenting with the piano. By the age of 10, he was playing drums, guitar, and the organ. And by his early teen years, he was composing full arrangements of horns, rhythm, and vocals. In Dayton, music wasn't just a hobby, it was a lifeline. The city was a breeding ground for future funk legends such as Slave, Zap, Heatwave, and Dayton. Yet, even in this sea of talent, Junie stood out. Teachers, peers, and bandmates will later recall that he had an almost supernatural grasp of melody and rhythm. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flamboyant, but he was brilliant, and soon a local band would take notice. The Ohio Players was already gaining momentum with Junie joining them in the late 60s. But the moment he stepped into the band, everything changed. He was barely 17 years old, yet he played with the maturity of a seasoned veteran. Junie became the group's musical director, a pivotal role rarely given to someone who was so young. He arranged horns, reconstructed compositions, directed rehearsals, and molded the band's evolving sound. And then came the breakthrough albums, Pain, Pleasure, and Ecstasy. These records became cornerstones of early funk, and Junie's fingerprints was all over them. He played keys, bass, drums, guitar, whatever the track needed, Junie delivered. His first showcase came with the song Funky Worm. With Junie steering the ship, the Ohio Players' sound became daring, edgy, and unpredictable. There wasn't just a band, there was a sonic experiment, but not everyone was ready for Junie's level of creativity. As the Ohio Players rose in fame, tensions grew. Junie's musical mindset worked fast, so fast that it sometimes clashed with the group's structure and direction. He wanted more freedom, more innovation, more space to explore the sounds that didn't fit the band's evolving mainstream image. By 1974, Junie made a bold decision. He walked away from the Ohio Players. While the band went on to a commercial stardom, Junie set off on a creative journey that will redefine funk forever. Most artists struggle to reinvent themselves after leaving a major band. Junie didn't. Instead, he released a string of quirky, experimental solo albums, such as When We Do, Freeze, and Susie Super Groupie. These albums showcase the more free side of Junie. He blended soul, funk, spoken word, comedy, and avant-garde production techniques. He played nearly every instrument himself. His solo work didn't always chart, the musicians was paying attention. Junie was becoming a musician's musician, the kind of artist who didn't need mainstream approval to influence an entire generation. He then made a move that would define his legacy. Malia Franklin introduced George Clinton to Junie, who in turn brought Junie to P-Funk. George Clinton, the mastermind behind Parliament-Funkadelic, had a keen eye for talent, and he knew what Junie could bring to the P-Funk universe. In the mid-70s, Junie joined P-Funk, quietly stepping into a collective that included Bootsy Collins and an army of musicians. Yet, even among the giants, Junie stood out. He wasn't flashy and he didn't wear any costumes. He didn't jump around on the stage. But behind the scenes, he became one of the most important creative forces in P-Funk history. His contributions was very important. Within P-Funk, Junie became a secret weapon, a quiet architect designing some of the most iconic funk songs ever created. His most iconic achievements include One Nation Under a Groove, this song is considered one of the greatest funk tracks of all time. Junie helped craft its arrangements and sonic structure. It became P-Funk's biggest hit, not just Knee Deep. This was a song that defined the whole generation of funk and hip-hop. Junie's production and musical direction shaped an entire groove. And Coming Around the Mountain. This song became another example of his musical fingerprints across the P-Funk catalog. Junie was a creative engine behind some of P-Funk's most successful years. He had become the silent genius of the mothership, someone whose ideas were so strong that entire albums was built around him. Despite shaping the sound of two legendary funk dynasties, Junie remained surprisingly private. He rarely gave interviews, he avoided the spotlight, and he didn't chase stardom. Instead, he focused on creation. Music was his language, and he spoke it fluently, without needing the attention or applause. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Junie continued to produce, write, and record music for himself and others. His influence steeped into emerging genres, especially hip-hop, where his sounds were sampled by the likes of Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, De La Soul, Ice Cube, NWA, DJ Quick, Too Short, and countless others. Even though he wasn't physically present, his spirit still echoed through modern music. In the early 2000s and 2010s, Junie lived mostly in Europe, continuing to make music independently. He embraced digital tools, collaborated with younger musicians, and explored new styles long before they became mainstream. His later works proved that he never stopped evolving. Then, on February 16th, 2017, Junie passed away at the age of 62. His passing shocked the world of music, but his legacy had already grown far beyond the man himself. Junie wasn't just a musician, he was a visionary. He helped build the Ohio Players' first great era, P-Funk's biggest commercial and creative success, and the sound that hip-hop, R&B, and electric music was sampled for decades. He was never loud, never flashy, never seeking credit. He was the quiet hand guiding the evolution of black music, a shadow genius whose ideas changed everything. Today, Junie is remembered as one of the most influential and innovative musicians in funk history, a pioneer whose music helped define an era, shape a culture, and inspire generations. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song by Junie Morrison?